Dear students, welcome to our class on wind. In this class, we are going to study what is wind, what is the importance of wind, what are the factors affecting the wind motion, then what are the large wind surface systems on the earth, then mountain winds, valley winds, trade and anti-trade winds. These are all the things which we are going to discuss before we go into the class. It's a very, very interesting class, fundamentals, okay. Oh, wonderful. Wind is one of the greatest weather elements which I admire a lot. Now, before we go into the class, I would like to tell you a small experience of me, or what I learned from the society, or what I learned from my colleagues or students, whatnot in the society. Now, you see, one should be very bold, brave, and courageous to be a winner. Bold, brave, and courageous. How? If you go out of this class, after the class is over, and look at the sky, birds would fly. Okay? If a bird thinks that it cannot fly against the vast sky, it cannot do anything. To fetch its food, it has to go, see from the top, and then see. That much of vastness of the sky is there, I cannot do anything. Okay, it loses its food. Okay, that's why even though a bird is so small, a vast sky, it travels. Similarly, there are innumerable fish in the oceans or seas. Smallest fish, biggest fishes are there, crocodiles are there, whatnot. If a small fish thinks I cannot survive, okay, and in front of so much of ferocious big fishes and crocodiles, so it cannot do anything. So it tries, it will be successful. It is successful, that's all. Similarly, if a tree outside our classroom, after our class, you just go there, stand before a tree and then ask, who planted you? It doesn't know. A small seed gave me, it replies to this much of height. What the tree says, my dear student, whenever it rains, I am standing here only. When it is too cool, I am here only. When it is cyclone, I am here only. When it is too hot, I am here only. How I am surviving? I learnt to live. Whether it is raining, whether it is winter, whether it is hot, whether it is cyclone, whether it is very, very hot. How? I modify myself and then stay here. So, by seeing from the tree, by seeing from the fish, by seeing from the birds flying in the sky, what you learn? They have courage. They have self-confidence, they have wisdom, whatnot. Belief in them above all. Have belief within you, can do anything and everything. Now, let's go into our class of wind. As I said, small subheadings are there. Actually, by definition, wind is defined as air in its horizontal motion. Air in its horizontal motion is known as wind. Now, what is the importance of wind for the crop plants? Now, the importance of wind for the crop plants are innumerable, like the importance of atmosphere. When I discussed with you the first chapter, the atmosphere and agriculture meteorology, I told atmosphere provides oxygen for crop plants. Atmosphere provides nitrogen for building blocks, okay, of the crop. The atmosphere provides carbon dioxide for the photosynthesis to the crop. Same advantages, same, because in the atmosphere, air is there. Air in its horizontal motion is known as wind. However, in our wind class, specifically, I would like to say two most important functions of the wind and two other effects of the wind. What are those? Wind is the only weather element. Wind is the only weather element that can carry the heat and the water vapor. Wind is the only weather element that can carry heat and water vapor. No other element, solar radiation, temperature, no. Only wind can carry these two. One is the heat, the next one is water vapor. Another important use of wind for the crop plants are frost is a serious damage in the temperate areas. When you go to higher latitudinal areas, frost damage causes enormous amount of damage on crops, particularly on the plantation crops, horticulture crops. So, wind in its optimum speeds, protect the plant from the frost damage, and wind is also essential for pollination in all cross-pollinated crops. So these are all the importance of wind. Now, what are the factors affecting the wind? I would like to discuss. There are four forces, innumerable forces act on the wind in the atmosphere. Of them, number one is the pressure gradient force, second one is the Coriolis force, third one is the centrifugal force, fourth one is the frictional force. These forces determine, okay, the or affect the movement of the wind. What is meant by pressure gradient force? If you take a line, go for pressure measurement. Line means, not small line like in a wind systems are very big systems. So when you take a line in a wind system, the pressure decreases from high pressure to low pressure. It goes perpendicular to the isobar. It goes perpendicular to the isobar. That's what wind gradient is, from high to low, perpendicular to isobars. We call them as, for agriculture purpose, not for general geographical purpose, for agriculture purpose. Now, the second one is the Coriolis force. Because of the rotational movement of the earth, force that is acted on the molecules of the air in the atmosphere, we call them as the Coriolis force. Because of the Coriolis force only, the molecules of the air in the atmosphere are coming closer. 5.5 kilometers, half of the atmosphere, 11 kilometers, 3/4 the atmosphere, several times I told. So because of the Coriolis force, the movements of the molecules are coming close. Not in addition to the gravitational force is there. Of course, because of the rotation of the earth, the Coriolis force acts as. The third one is the centrifugal force. Very simple. If you just take some curds, put some water and then skim it, okay, the lighter particles will come, cream will come out. Similarly, in the atmosphere, in the bargain of, in the process of rotation around itself and around the sun, okay, some large scale area systems, okay, lighter molecules always go away. That's what we call it as the centrifugal forces. The last one is the frictional force. Say for example, okay, wind is blowing from, okay, one area to, say for example, a 2000 kilometer area. The surface may be mountains or rivers, or you can say hard surfaces, a forest area, offers some friction. Because of that friction, the movement of the wind changes. So these are all the forces or factors affecting the wind motion on the earth. Wind motion on the earth, pressure gradient force, Coriolis force, centrifugal force, and the frictional force. Now, very important as far as our wind is concerned, there are large scale wind systems. Large scale wind systems. In the previous class, we tried to understand small scale pressure systems. What are the small scale pressure systems? Small scale pressure systems are cyclones and anticyclones. They are confined to smaller area for 200 kilometers or maximum 2000 kilometers in case of cyclone. Anticyclone, much smaller area. Okay, right. So that's why large scale wind systems play an important role in agriculture. What are those? The first one is the doldrum. I try to explain to you what is the doldrum. This is the equator, this is the northern pole, this is the southern pole. Several times I told. The insolation, the incoming solar radiation from the sun falls on the equator. Since continuously the earth is rotating itself and then it is working one rotation around the sun in 364.5 days, the insolation falls over the equator. Therefore, always there is a low pressure over the equator. These low pressure belts, we call them as. These are large scale wind systems, large scale, not small scale like cyclones and anticyclones. Several times I am requesting you to remember. Now, these are the continuous insulation is falling, continuously insulation is falling over the equator. So, the low pressure exists on the larger areas on both sides of the equator. That's what we call them as the doldrums. Now, what is happening when insulation is falling? The air expands. first class I told, atmosphere and aggregate meteorology. Atmosphere is expansible, compressible. Now, since insulation is falling on this, the atmosphere near the equator gets expanded. Once it is expanding and Earth is rotating around itself, the winds tries to go up, approximately up to 35 degrees on both sides of the equator. Northern side, they will go, and up to 35 degrees latitude, 0, 1, 2, 3, like that, up to 90, 0 to 90, 35 degrees latitude here and here. Why? Because insulation is falling and atmosphere is expanding. Now, because of the rotational movement, okay, it is the winds are going, forming high pressure. These are called as horse latitude. At 35 degrees upper air, okay, these are called as the horse latitude. Of course, on both sides you will find the first one doldrum, 35 degrees horse latitudes. Then, because there is a high pressure and Earth is rotating around itself and it is making one rotation around the sun in 364 and a half days, one rotation in 1 day. Now, from these high pressure horse latitudes, they try to come down. They try to come towards the equator. There is a high pressure. They should go to low pressure. Where the low pressure is existing? Over the doldrums. So, in other words, the airs that have gone up on both sides of the equator, after forming the high pressure, that's what we call it the horse latitude, they try to come again back to equator. They try. It is a process. It is a geographical process, physical process, a combination of these two also. Now, so these winds that are coming, okay, over the surface, we call them as the trade winds. Trade winds means, between equator and 35 degrees latitude. Okay, from there high pressure, the winds are coming from the northern pole, northeast direction, from southern pole, southeast direction. The winds blow in only one direction. That's why they are very calm, they are very strong, they are permanent wind systems. So, when the navigators were going in this area, traders, they found very calm, very consistent winds which are taking them effortlessly towards the equator. Because they were going for trading, they named it as trade winds. Okay, now, doldrums, the horse latitudes and trade winds. However, there are some anti-trade winds, which is relatively a smaller surface, a smaller wind system compared to horse latitude. 60 to 70 degrees latitudes on both sides of the equator. Okay, the anti-trade winds play. These are very, very weak. Okay, these are weak and disturbed. They are not consistent. They are not very strong. Okay, on both sides. So they play an important role with reference to the fourth one, polar easterlies or polar winds or polar highs. We call it as polar highs. Okay, what is doldrums, horse latitudes? Okay, prevailing westerlies, polar winds or polar highs. Now, what are the prevailing westerlies? The anti-trade winds are also known as prevailing westerlies. Of course, in the advanced courses, you will study prevailing westerlies are very important for occurrence of rain in the temperate region. They have got a lot of significance. So, doldrums, horse latitudes, anti-trade winds are prevailing westerlies, and polar calms or polar highs, high pressure, they are calm. Why? Because incoming solar radiation is falling over the equator, sun's rays have to travel long distance to reach the poles, therefore the energy is lost in the sun's rays, so light part 0.4 to 0.6 microns would be reaching there, but energy is not there. Okay, so that's why the always poles will have low temperature. Once low temperature, high pressures are there. From high pressures, wind tries to come, okay, to 60 to 70 degrees latitudes. So these are the large scale wind systems, not pressure systems. Pressure systems are cyclones and anticyclones, small systems. Large scale wind systems on the globe, on the whole globe, doldrums, harsh latitudes, prevailing vector and polar highs. Okay, this is what. And then after this, I would like to explain to you two small um, mm, phenomena that occur with the interaction of the earth, atmosphere and land. So what are those? Land and sea breezes. First one is the land and sea breezes. Presume that this is the sea. There is water here. This is the sea. Presume that this is the land. Okay. Presume that this is the land. Sea, land. Okay. What is happening during the day? 6 o'clock. Temperature is 20. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. 20 had become, air temperature had become say 30. From 20, by 12 o'clock, the temperature of the air had gone up to 30. What is happening is, the land gets heated up quicker than the water because it is the solid, this is the fluid. Now, land is getting warmed up. Once air temperature is 30, the soil temperature maybe, or once air temperature, say for example 35, the soil temperature may be 45. So, soil temperature is 45, whereas the air, the water temperature over the ocean or seas is much lesser than the soil temperature. So, higher soil temperature results in low pressure over the land, and low water temperature results in low pressure over the water. So, the pressure gradient is from high pressure over the seas to land. So, the winds move from sea to land. This is what we call it as the sea breezes occur during the daytime. Now, exactly reverse happen in the evening. The soil gets cooled up by 4 o'clock in the evening. The water goes on getting heated up to 4 o'clock. From then the temperature of the water decreases. So, what is happening? From the land, which is having high pressure because it is cool as compared to water, from land to sea, the breezes occur or winds move. This is what we call it as the land breezes. So, another most important difference of land and sea breezes is the land breezes are not as strong as sea breezes. Okay, so land breezes occur during the evening or night. Sea breezes occur during the. There is a lot of significance as far as our agriculture crops are concerned. So, what is the significance in the coastal areas? These are small scale wind systems, like small scale pressure systems, so not that much, 40, 45, 50 kilometers area. So that's why farmers who are very trained, okay, farmers having knowledge, they take the advantage of these winds and they grow crops because the sea breezes occur during the daytime. They grow crops successfully. Sea breezes occur during the daytime. Land breezes occur during the night time. So wind is less in the evening, so they spray the chemicals on the crops to control pests and disease in the evening. Now, similarly, the sea breezes occur predominantly, they are very strong winds, so they take the advantage of the sea breezes, grow crops in summer season as well, fruits, vegetables, okay, some sort of leafy vegetables they grow by taking advantage of sea breezes. This is what I would like to say. And the last one is simple, very simple. Mountain and valley winds. For example, you take this as one mountain, this as another mountain, okay, and this as another mountain. Now, what is happening is in between two mountains, usually, or in larger areas, there is a valley. What is happening? Valleys are there, mountains are there. Mountain winds and valley winds. These are the local winds. We call it as the. Say, for example, you take these. This type of a mountain, this type of another mountain. Now, during the daytime, what is happening is, okay, presume that this is the east, to my back is west, to my right side is south, to my left side is north. Now, the sun's rays falls on this side in the morning, the sun's rays falls on evening, this side on the mountain. Similar in case of the another mountain. However, there is a valley area. Now, on both sides, sun's rays are falling more in the morning, more in the evening, only sides. but in the afternoon, sunset straightly fall into the valley. Now, during the daytime, the surfaces of the mountains get heated up. This side gets heated up very quicker as compared to free atmosphere in the plain area. This is the plain area. This is the plain area. This is the mountainous area. Plain area, mountainous area. Plain area has got some temperature, but the surface area of mountain has got high temperature. Because of its high temperature as compared to the free atmosphere, the air near, the wind near, okay, surface area of the mountains go up. Similarly, in the valleys in the afternoon, air goes up. So, when air is getting warmed up, when it is going up, it loses the energy. Clouds are formed in the afternoon, usually in the valley areas. So, in the mountain areas, rain occurs in the valleys during the daytime. Exactly, reverse happen in the night. What is that? The free atmosphere cools down. Much is the cooler for the mountainous area surfaces. Why? Because they are at the higher altitudes. So, because of much cooler surfaces of the mountains, whatever the winds that have gone up, they are drained out during the daytime. Okay, they come out in the night. Okay, going up during the daytime, coming down. This is what we call the mountain winds. So, by taking the advantage of these small scale winds, mountain winds in the night, okay, valley winds during the daytime, okay, farmers plant the crops. Even in your research also you can do it. The major differences, other major differences are valley winds occur during the daytime, mountain winds occur during the night time. The wind flow, or you can say convection flow, okay, is very, very strong in case of mountain winds. Mountain winds are also known as katabatic winds. Valley winds are known as anabatic winds. Okay, so mountain winds occur during the night time. Valley winds occur during the daytime. So some more small differences you can see from any other reference books. This is what I would like to discuss with you in this class. Thanking you very much. May God bless you. Try to remember what I told in the beginning of this class. Look at a bird. After the class is over, go out there and ask. If the bird thinks it cannot fly in the vast sky, it cannot do anything. If a fish in the sea, or you can say some river, or you can say some lake, thinks that I cannot survive against the crocodiles, against the big fish, okay, it has confidence on it. Bird has confidence on it. The fish has confidence. Similarly, a tree has confidence on itself. By standing there itself, it offers what not, everything. It survives every season. In addition to that, please remember, it gives, my dear student, please come. You sit under my shade. I give you very good oxygen during the daytime. Please have a fresh breath like that. So, by seeing the tree, by seeing the fish, by seeing the bird, okay, you can learn a lot, what not. From everything what you come across in the life, they are the sources of information, sources of courage, sources of belief. Thank you very much. May God bless you. We meet in our next class.